Hello all, and this is going to be a demonstration of how to import your Gender Inequality Index scores into ArcGIS or ArcPro, and then how to share those layers from ArcPro to your ArcGIS Online platform. So right here is the Excel spreadsheet, which you can find a link to in the website under how to calculate the GII scores for both Cambodia and Vietnam. And each one of these, so we've got our maternal mortality, adolescent fertility, commune seats, educational information, literacy rates, labor force, and experiences of violence. These were then created with sub-indices. So we've got our reproductive health index, our empowerment index, our labor market index, and our violence index. And then we use all these indices to create our gender inequality index. And so if you go into each of these, the calculations can be found just above here on each of their lines. And there is an explanation, a step-by-step explanation on the website of how all of this was calculated, so you can replicate that. But we're going to kind of forget about that right now, and we're going to go to importing this Excel spreadsheet into ArcPro. So one of the first things that we need to do is we don't really need all of this information right now. You can import each of these layers individually. So I'm just going to show you how to do the index, and you can use the same steps to import each of these individual variables if you so choose. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a new sheet here, and we're just going to label this GIS layer. Okay. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to, all I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the names of the provinces. And this is all for Cambodia. So we're going to label this region, and I'm going to label this GII score. Okay. And go over here, take our output of the Gender Inequality Index, and we're just going to copy that. And we're going to paste the scores right there. Right now, we don't need to worry about all these significant figures that you see here. The GII usually has about 3 significant figures. We can adjust that when we're in ArcPro or ArcGIS if that's what you're using. ArcMap if that's what you're using, and then we can upload them we can also change it when we upload it to ArcGIS Online. Okay, so we've got our regions, we've got our scores. We just want to save this. I want to get out of here. So now I'm in ArcPro, and all I've done is insert a new map, and in this new map I've added here from my GDB, I have a layer actually of the Cambodia provinces, and to get that on my map, all you have to do is drag and drop like that. All right, we don't need 2 of these. I also want to note that these are the provincial areas as they are put in by the CDHS, so they may appear differently on different maps. It's really important that your provincial layers or your regional layers, whatever it is, match from your shapefile to your Excel spreadsheet. So if you'll see here, this is actually 2 provincial regions in Cambodia, but the survey that we used for creating our GII combined the 2. So that's what we also used here on our shapefile. It's also important that your shapefile, within your shapefile, you have your attribute table, and that you're checking to see that these region names right here, they actually match the region names that you have here. Spelling, spaces, here we use slashes instead of the word Battambang, and Palan. So just make sure that it matches here to here, all the spelling, because this is what you're going to use to actually do your join. Okay, so before we get to that, we need to import our Excel spreadsheet. And how do you do that? There's actually a really handy tool called Excel to Table in here. So we use the tool Excel to Table. The input Excel file is the Excel file that we just updated. Let me see if I can figure out where I saved that. Demo calculations. Mine's called democalculations.xlsx. Some of you might have .xls. That's totally fine as well. That's just an older version of Excel. I actually like to get rid of, this is an automatic name. So if you kind of go to the backslash after the GDB, you can write GII calculations. And that's just so I know what this table is going to represent. So this V1 was just the layers that showed all the calculations, and we actually want to choose the sheet that has our GIS layers. So it's only going to import the sheet that you choose. And then we hit run for the tool. Great, and now we can see our calculations tables over here. Here's our GII score. Great. So the next thing we want to do is we want to join this table to this layer. And how do we do that? We just right click on Cambodia provinces, go down to joins and relates, hit add join. Now it comes up in our geoprocessing panel over here. So the join is actually starting at the shapefile. That's where we want it to start. And we're going to join by region and by region. And you can ignore this indexing warning. Hit run. And we want to make sure that everything was joined properly. So we just open up again. Sorry, I just right clicked, open up your attribute table. And we can see that we have everything matching along here. Really what we're checking, we have a spelling error. So this is actually a really good learning opportunity. This area did not actually join because there must be some spelling error within it. So this is a good learning opportunity for us. So what we can do is remove all joins. Yes. And we actually need to figure out what is wrong within our tables. So we can put these next to each other. Sorry, I'm going so fast. I've just right-clicked and I've opened the attribute table. Now I'm going to drag this. If I hold on to it and drag it, I see this little cross come up. And really it's saying it's where you want the two tables to be lined up. I want them side by side because I want to compare how each of those regions are spelled. So we were getting the error here. So Mondal Curry, there's something wrong here. And it's that this one of them has two T's. So I can just double click on there, adjust that, and then find out how to save it. Why are you letting me save? There it is. Okay, so then we'll hit save. Save edits. Great. So now let's redo that join again. It should not be joined. Let's go back. Let's hit joins and relates again by region. All right, now let's see if that worked this time. Great, we have no null values in here, so that means it works. It worked. So now the next thing that we want to do is we want to right-click on our shapefile. I'm going to go down to data, and we actually want to export these features. And again, I want to relabel the name. So I'm saving it in my geo database, and I'm going to label this one Cambodia BII results. Really good to note here that anything that you're saving in ArcGIS, anything you're exporting, it does not like spaces in the name, so please use underscore instead of a space. Oops, didn't mean to exit out of that. And we'll hit run again. Great, and now we have our results in one. So we can just remove any extraneous layers. And one of the things that I like to do before I load it is, if you look in here, there's actually a couple repeating columns, and we can just clean this all up before we upload anything to ArcGIS Online. And the two that I'm going to get rid of are this extra object ID and this extra region name. We don't need both of them. You need at least one object ID in here, so please don't delete this column. You also need to keep the shape length and shape area. So we can get rid of this and this just by holding down Control when you click on them. and then right click and hit delete, and then hit yes. Great. So that should be all set. You need to make sure that you are signed in to your ArcGIS Online account before you can share all of these to your online portal. That's the last step in this process. And to share to the online portal, it's really simple. All you have to do is right-click on the shape again, go down to the sharing button, and share as a web layer. Okay, so we've got the Cambodia GII results as our name and the summary. So these are the results from the subnational gender inequality index. And you can obviously write a lot more about whatever this layer is that you're uploading. And then you can put some tags. So GII, you can put in severe, we can put in SEI, gender. This helps people look up your layer if they want to. And you can set your sharing capabilities. If you want this to go back on the website or you want other people to be able to access it, I recommend letting it be shared with everybody. If you want this to be a private layer, you still have some edits to work on, then you don't have to click anything and you can just hit publish. But I usually want everything to be shared. So to make it very easily accessible, if it's not shared with everybody and you put it onto the application, the web application, then you will have broken links and there will actually be errors in your application. So you want to make sure that it's available to everybody. And all you have to do is hit publish and let that load, and it will now be hosted on your ArcGIS Online account. It does take a few minutes. Great, and it was successful. And now we can access this web layer whenever we want to. You can also access your web layers if you want to edit them in ArcGIS. If you're logged onto here, if I go into my catalog, I should be able to see, within my portal. So here's all the layers I've actually uploaded from different projects, from this very project that we were doing for the Gender Inequality Index. This is my online catalog, and I can access those here and update them within ArcPro. All right, I hope that this was helpful.